Jujutsu means gentle art, gentle way of doing, or gentle technique. Its origin as a martial art comes from feudal Japan, but its technical origin is traced back to the fighting arts from India, and was also influenced by Yawara, Ken, Kogu-Soku, Yoshin, and Hikari. Also, there is not a date to be mentioned as the date of its foundation, or any founders to be pointed as the founding fathers.
The legend says that, more than 2,000 years ago, in India, Buddhist monks, in order to preach their religion, were forced to leave monasteries and travel. Along the way, they unexpectedly came across many threats, including some threats to their own life.
As their religion abhorred violence, they developed a method of defense that faced weapons without the use of weapons, a method of hand-to-hand combat that was normally at a disadvantage to the adversary. This method was developed and perfected and was taken with its practitioners to the new destinations where Buddhism spread, first to China, then to Japan, and more recently to the world.
It is said that a man named Takanoshi, who lived in Sakushi, wrote the Kogu-Soku. Supposedly, in 1532, a sorcerer appeared to Takanoshi and taught him 5 methods on how to finish or kill an opponent in combat. After delivering his message, the sorcerer suddenly vanished into thin air. And so, it was this encounter that inspired Takanoshi to write the book he titled Kogu-Soku.
Another story tells that a man named Qin Jun Pen fled China to Japan, taking refuge in a Buddhist monastery to escape the hardships of the fall of the Ming dynasty. The monastery was located in Edo, where Tokyo is today. In that temple also lived 3 ronin, Mira, Izugo, and Fukano, to whom Qin Jun Pen taught an innovative form of combat that not even he had learned, but only seen.
These 3 ronin studied what they were taught by words and created the Ju, which is considered to be the origin of the Jujutsu, in which Mira, Izugo, and Fukano passed on to their disciples, who later spread it all over Japan. The Bujutsu Ryu Suraku, a book on biographies of the various creators of Japanese martial arts, confirms these stories of Kogu-Soku and Jujutsu.
Another version of the legend is given to us by Amit, a brief history of the arts and principles taught in the Kido school, and it is said that Fukano was a student of martial arts without weapons and that he became an expert practitioner of these martial forms, training exhaustively and making them evolve exponentially. Later, 2 of his disciples, Mira and Terada, gave rise to the expansion of martial arts in Japan. Mira will have founded the school of Wa or Yawara, and Terada the school of Ju or Jujutsu.
The known facts are that the current model of Jujutsu originated in India and was taken by Buddhist monks to China and finally to Japan, from where it later spread to the world. The Indian Buddhist monks developed a set of techniques that used mainly as a method, balance and joint locks, as a way to gain advantage and dominate opponents.
As the times evolved, Buddhism gained a reputation and was taken to Tibet, Burma, and China. Buddhist monks also took with them, to these new places, the fighting and self-defense techniques they had developed to protect themselves from enemies and assailants. They later arrive in Japan in the 2nd century BCE.
Although it is not very clear how Jujutsu came about, it is certain that its popularity grew exponentially between 1603 and 1867, in the Edo era, during which Jujutsu was taught in more than 2,000 schools throughout Japan, with different names, such as Yawara, Ken, Kogu-Soku, Yoshin, and Araki, among many others.
The schools then operated in a closed model, without any communication, and that is why each school has evolved without fraternizing or contacting the other academies. Therefore, they grew in total astony, both in methods, as well as in the teaching system.
Its principle or concept is to defend oneself, without using weapons, or being at a disadvantage, using for this purpose the non-resistance to the opponent's force, keeping calm and with a clear mind.